it's really amazing how you think of yourself as, the chief, heading product as well as data, and that the data is kind of woven into the core product. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of what happened in financial services as well, right?
That's right.
And so you're kind of bringing that expertise. And how open was the leadership team and the maybe more traditional folks that weren't sort of data savvy? How did you convince them that this was important, or did they just know? And is that why they brought you in? Like the human elements are always so hard. Like how did you make this happen?
Well, to be honest with you, I report to the CEO, and he actually sought me out. So I think that let him tell it. He interviewed a lot of people before he found me. I think that part of it is that, you have to have a mindset, right? That you want to do something different, that you want to make a difference. I think that a lot of leaders in our space are, great leaders, managing people, managing data, but we had to go further. We had to, I have a great amount of responsibility, probably even more than even though I don't have as large of a team from a data perspective, what we do in terms of data management, data governance, metadata, machine learning, AI, product development. It's very broad. I can't really, kind of narrow it down, because in some ways it's actually good to have oversight into all of that. The DBAs report to me, even the Microsoft Azure admins were reporting to me until just recently. Just because I think launching the product from the start and really building our entire data management strategy, from the bottom up, was something that they really wanted somebody who had a diverse background. And I think being a management consultant, working in multiple industries, really helped me come into a company that services so many different industries. And it's something that I just never really thought about as I was progressing in my own career. I never realized what I was maybe being prepared for.
Well, it sounds like you had enlightened CEO who really believed in that data was a part of the core fabric of the future of the company, and prioritized bringing you onto the leadership team. And because sometimes, right, the CDO kind of falls under the CIO. But to have a CDO that's independent on the leadership team with such a broad mandate, that sounds pretty unique and pretty forward thinking.
Yes, this isn't the first time. The last position, a couple of positions I've been in, I've reported to the CEO now, and I think that it's a great thing. I don't necessarily think that CDOs belong under CIOs. I think that depending upon the company, it can work. But I think that the CDO and the CIO need to work hand in hand. I think that the business needs to own the data, and that IT needs to own the processes. So if you have somebody that's going to have both, then they kind of have to own both. And that's difficult to say, as a CIO, do you really want to own the data? Because, I think, when you start having global responsibility for things like data governance, for machine learning, for AI, for data science in general, right? The data scientists that are, building the algorithms, like that's generally not a typical IT function. But then again, a lot of CIO roles are changing as well. So I am very fortunate. I think that another thing that we see in the data space, and especially in a role like mine where I kind of do wear the product officer and data officer hat, is that there is a direct line to like how data is an asset for the organization. Like data is truly a major asset for us. Like we can quantify, data, based on volume of data, based on products that we're able to develop with data, having data that enables us to build models that are unique for an oil and gas industry or unique for the consumer goods industry. Like, this has really changed the course, I think, for data practitioners to, have a seat at a table at the CXO level. And even, with our customers, I think it's fascinating that when I joined this industry in human capital management, I would often meet with like chief procurement officers, HR, and that's not the case anymore. Now, what we're developing from a data perspective, there are some of our customers I meet on a monthly basis with their global CIOs. Several of our customers I meet with on a quarterly basis with their CFOs. So it's really amazing to me that, we have the ability now to reach so many different personas. I don't know if where you're located at right now, but here in Ohio, it was so fun to watch our governor talk about our data lake and how many attributes, how many data elements they're looking at in their data lake, and across across the state, just hearing that type of terminology and the data literacy come out of even a public official really kind of makes you feel like data's kind of sexy right now.
It's incredible that it's gotten so mainstream.
Yeah.
To have people that never would have thought or talked about data to be have it be top of mind. And
Right.
also as you start to think about the next 2-3 years and kind of go as you take your organization and your tech to the next level, what are the things that are like most important to you and that you care about the most in terms of driving even more value or building on? Like, what are you most excited about going forward?
Well, to be honest, I'm really excited about the models that we can build. Like, because we've spent so much time building the foundations, it's sometimes it takes precedence, right? Like, being able to get all of our customers, the new customers that we're adding because of our data and analytics offering, is phenomenal. So we spend a lot of time still in the in kind of building out and continuing to build up our repository of data. We've built the foundation, but I think that as we move more into like 2021, 2022, really where we're going to be focused is on the actual model development. So the machine learning and AI models that are really going to take us to the next level, to really understand and predict and learn from the data that we've been collecting for so long, to build out kind of answers to questions that are still, maybe taking us a day or a week to answer, that we'll really be able to answer in just a matter of seconds.
That's amazing. So it's kind of like the velocity of it is all sort of increasing.
Absolutely.
Another question around open source. So how important is open source? You mentioned you use .NET a lot. Are there a set of open source tools or tech that you really like that you think are important?
I do. There are some things that our team uses, definitely are, thinking about on the statistics side, rather than, in the past, I've used some more robust, not open source tools. But I think that,
maybe 3 letters that start with S and end with S, that
right?
kind of a thing.
That being one of them. There are others, but yeah, I think that definitely comes to mind. I just think there's so many opportunities right now, that technology is ever changing, that the more things that can help us to do our jobs faster and more efficient and give us greater visibility. I mean, when you think about this industry, honestly, whether you're on the staffing or the supplier or, the managed service side, like we are, it's all about visibility. Like I joke with my customers now, I get to actually sit in on a lot of as an executive sponsor, sit in on their business reviews. And I say, what we're giving you is visibility on steroids, right? I mean, like you said you wanted data and analytics. Welcome to my world. But you've got to spoon. In all fairness, sometimes you've got to spoon feed them. And I think that as we move into the next generation of this, it's really about problem solving and having those models available to be able to solve problems faster. So now we've laid the foundation. We've architected the data for analytics. We've done all of the kind of descriptive and predictive. We're going to be doing more on the prescriptive, but those tools that allow us to get there faster, to maybe even allow us to do more storytelling with the data, are definitely things that I might be looking at.
Wow, that's great. Well, I love that framework, right? That descriptive, predictive, prescriptive. That seems to apply very broadly and work really well for lots of folks.